And then we're back, ready to be good, because we're inside right now. So, oh, I'm not interested in that one at all, fearsome, really. Okay, so, for those of you who don't know, the gentleman who plays Jolee Bindo is a gentleman named Kevin Michael Richardson. He's not as well known as, like, Jennifer Hale or Steve Blum or Troy Baker, but he is in a ridiculous amount of games, movies, and shows with regards to his voice acting talents. Now, I'm just going to toss a couple at you here that you might recognize to give you an idea of the voice. And I just want to tell if you can hear it when you hear Jolee Bindo's voice. He played Grom Hellscream in Warlords of Draenor. Anything? No? Okay. He also played... Hang on, I had another one. I literally just forgot it. He played Saravok from the Baldur's Gate games. That was the next one I wanted to point out. He also tended to voice Cisco whenever Cisco was in anything that wasn't the actual show. There's actually a story behind that, but I don't want to get into it. But the voice that I tend to hear most when I hear Jolee Bindo is the Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, from the 80s and 90s cartoon. Cowabunga Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That one. That he voiced that Shredder. And tell me if you can't hear it from now on every time you hear him talk. Okay. Let's go kill stuff. Wait, we're not killing stuff. We're doing cutscenes. Cutscenes. Wait, no, we're not. We're going to Manaan. Manaan. Wait, no, we're not. We're going to Tatooine. Tatooine. I'm kidding. We are, in fact, going to Manaan. Stronger in what way, Mraid? Man, I could never have good rest on these trips, can I? That's it, Bash. No, not the feather. Not the feather, no! So here we are at Manaan. Manaan is among my favorite levels, worlds. Even though it has a lot wrong with it, it's heavily political. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to think about. But in addition to that, I really like that it's a completely unique world that they invented pretty much just for this. And I love the culture, and I love the aesthetic of it.
Another vision. The Force continues to work through us, showing us the star maps unearthed by Revan Malak. It is strange that anyone would have built a star map here. The entire surface of Manaan is covered by nothing but vast oceans.
As an additional commentary here, there are some serious problems when it comes to Manaan for gameplay purposes. The layout of the city is a little nonsensical. There's a lot of backtracking. The load times are really bad when you're playing on certain versions of the game. There's a few issues when it comes down to it, and the map is also basically useless in this one. So, nevertheless,
The ocean floor is vast, and much of it is uncharted, even by the native Selkath. But how could Revan and Malak have found their way down? No doubt things will become more clear once we discover the star map's location.
we are just about to finish the game right now. There's the last boss. The last boss is the layout of the city of Manaan. But yeah, Flipper, you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about when it comes to the layout of this damned place. Now, I have to admit, I love the idea of a water planet. In fact, it's one of the things I liked most about certain sections of Total Annihilation of all weird things. Hey, Dios! Welcome back. I'm going to, Lurker. I'm going to bring Jolee and Juhani. I mean, the Shredder. And Jack. Anyways, I also really, really, really enjoy the trial quest here. But then again, as I've actually talked about before, I really like any of those, for lack of a better term, non-standard sections of RPGs. Probably my favorite ever is actually the Neverwinter Nights 2 trial, but, you know, Obsidian, right? What do you want? So you leave with Candace to go to Davik's estate. Then Malik cutscene cuts off the middle and the game starts. And then in order to, I have to pay some mine. Then you can see you're on the flicking over. I've seen that glitch before, Shurio. Because the way they do those is they actually teleport the camera, which is attached to the character, into the new zone in order to do the cutscene. So you're actually there in the cutscene when those cutscenes are happening. And yes, dinner is very good. We had pasta and chicken. I apologize about the noise. We're doing laundry. Oh, they're doing laundry. Someone who is not me is doing laundry. Pay the army. Pay it well. Pay it on time. Oh my god, why do you have so many levels? Are you liking it so far, Churun? Because if you're not... Okay. Sure. Back to me. They started that all the way back in you know, the original Star Wars, and actually it wasn't deliberate on at first. There's actually a small story about that. Basically, they were auditioning for certain roles, and they got what's his face for Tarkin, and he started doing it. He's a great actor. Forgive me for not knowing his name. And he was doing his British accent to play Tarkin, and they loved it so much they decided the Imperial accent should be British. And since they were already filming over in Europe and Africa, they decided to go ahead and hire on a bunch of British actors or people who could do British tones for the Imperials, and that just kind of became a trend from that point on. So British kind of became the Imperial accent. So every game and anything with voice acting since then kind of does the same thing. Also, hang on. I'm going to turn the music up just this once. For no reason. Was it Peter Cushing? I think you're right. Awesome actor. Horrifying, but awesome.
You Republic people are so pathetic, sitting around groveling at the table scraps the galactic senators deign to give you. It makes me sick.
The senators work for the good of the whole galaxy, not for individual gain.
Ha! Don't make me laugh, you gutless simp. It's the destiny of weak-minded fools like you to be ruled over by the strong, like we Sith.
I'm warning you. Don't push me or you'll get just what you're asking for.
Try it. Just try it. I'd love to see you throw the first punch. And with all the cameras around the Selkath would be all over you inside of 30 seconds. You break their laws. You pay the price, Republic scum. But I can see that you're not man enough to back up your words anyway. If you ever feel like relieving yourself of your worthless existence, feel free to come by our enclave here. We have many, many ways to fulfill your wish.
Yeah, what are you... Oh, I apologize, Master Jedi. I should not have been rude.
Why does Sith upset you so much, man?
Well, these damn Sith are everywhere on Manaan, pushing us Republic citizens around, trying to goad us into breaking the law somewhere. Yeah, the Selkath want to maintain their neutrality in this war we're fighting with the Sith, and they enforce it very strictly. So we just have to sit here and let the Sith insult us, and we can't raise a hand against them. Otherwise, the Republic will face severe KoTOR export restrictions, and that could lose us the war altogether.
What was Mraid's question again? I know I answered it earlier, but then... Right. Personally, Mraid, I think he was stronger after, but only because he became more gray after, and they kind of removed the influence of the Ancient Sith, a.k.a. the Dreadmasters, a.k.a. Lord Vishay. I know we haven't killed Slime Bucket yet. It's funny you say that, Reach. I was actually about to ask you guys the same question. Which do you think is better for terms of healing properties? KoTOR or Bacta? Now, I have an answer to this question myself, but we'll get to that in a minute.
You're joking, right? I'm sorry, but everyone knows what KoTOR is. It's the most powerful healing agent in the galaxy. I would have died several times myself if we didn't have this stuff handy. But the reason it's important here is that KoTOR is only found naturally on Manaan, and all of our attempts to synthesize it have failed miserably. So, we sit here on the surface, the Selkath harvesting what KoTOR bubbles up from the bottom of the ocean, and we buy it from them. Well, us and the Sith, of course. The Selkath don't want to play favorites. The Selkath think that by staying neutral, they can play both sides, selling KoTOR to everyone that needs it, and making themselves too valuable to be worth conquering. Well, that, and they threaten to destroy the only natural source of KoTOR on the planet if anyone tries to attack them. But I think they're underestimating the length the Sith will go to get what they want. They're probably planning something already. Is there anything else you require?
And you should know the Republic's planning something too. I don't know a way to get around on glitches like that personally, sure you. I just reloaded and it worked. If I am not mistaken, and I could be, from a pure healing perspective, KoTOR is superior. That being said, I would say, definitively that Bacta is superior. Because Bacta can be grown basically anywhere. KoTOR is reliant on this planet. That makes KoTOR much harder to get. It makes it have a limited supply. It's got a bottleneck with regard to how much supply physically can be produced and transited. And it makes it so that it's expensive as crap. And of course we have to deal with the Selkath as well, which I'll be talking about in a moment.
Of course. If you have any other questions, you should probably see Roland Wan. He's the Republic diplomat here. He's by the Republic Enclave near the visitor residences. Oh, if you don't know where that is, go north from here, then south past the port official in the first courtyard, east into the second courtyard, then north, then east again. You got that? Have a pleasant stay, Master Jedi.
Yeah, thanks for the directions. Bacta can be manufactured anywhere. It doesn't have to be manufactured on just one planet, Micromano. That's the difference. There was one planet that was like the primary Bacta facility, and the X-Wing series kind of showed the flaw in that mentality, and they branched out after that. So, Manaan. Do you know what the principal ideal is behind a house of cards? It's very simple. It doesn't work without everything involved all working simultaneously. If this card tries to balance against the other card, but the other card is on the ground or up here or whatever, it'll just fall. Same thing the other way. The only way House of Card works is if everything is balanced equally and simultaneously. But the reason the term House of Cards means things that are unstable is because it takes almost nothing to completely remove all of the balance. In order to remove this equalization in pressure in order to make it all fall apart, right? The Selkath are retarded here. Let me explain. The Selkath have a policy of enforced neutrality, but they're literally hostage takers. Let me explain what I mean by this. If you take a hostage, statistically speaking, you have basically lost the moment you do that, because there is no real way out of that situation that is going to be universally good for you. The best you can hope for when you take a hostage is for things to be as good as they are before you took the hostage, right? And that's just how that situation. I don't want to get too much into the psychiatry and the doctrine and tactics of how hostage taking works. That's not the point here. The point is they have taken KoTOR hostage, and they have been doing this for years at this point in time. It is the only source of it in the galaxy, so they have the monopoly of it. They have the monopoly on KoTOR. It's the only source of it in the entire galaxy. Actually, Lilu, we find out exactly what produces the KoTOR in this game, and have a chance to remove it from the equation. But the point is, this is the only source. Period. Theoretically, if everyone knew everything, there is the possibility of transplanting it, but that obviously never happens because KoTOR goes out of style and Bacta comes into style, but I digress. So, they have the absolute monopoly. They could charge whatever they want for it. But anybody with enough of a brain would realize that if they just decide to go ahead and charge way too much for it, they're going to have a bad situation on their hands. Remember, all they have is the hostage, okay? They don't have the military firepower. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the political backing. They don't have the economic backing. All they have is the hostage. So all they can do is constantly try to balance things between the two sides as best as they can, constantly trying to make sure that neither side works. Because here's the way this works. If they were to sell out to either side, to solely export to the Republic, or solely export to the Sith, or anyone else really, any other major power, what would happen immediately is all the other major powers would come immediately here to try and remove that, because that would be such an overwhelming advantage for that side that no one else could tolerate that it would be worth the military cost and risk to literally go to siege on this planet, right? And as Titans points out, these guys have the hostage situation, but that is non-feasible long term, because the only possible way this could work out is eventually one side or the other, or both, will figure out a way to get here and be able to take out the Manaan leadership and government and people sufficiently quickly so that they cannot sabotage the KoTOR, aka so they can't shoot their hostage. This is why I keep referring this to a hostage situation. This is a no-win scenario, really, for the Selkath. Their best possible outcome is the Republic or the Sith win, and the conflict ends. That is the best possible way this can end for the Selkath. Now, I always felt that is pretty much specifically what they were aiming for. At least some of the Selkath government, at least some of them have to have enough of a brain to realize the trap they've put themselves into. I was just saying that, fearsome. I was just saying we're probably having some Twitch delay here. So yeah, this is a trap that they've set for themselves. So they can't. And the funny thing is, while I believe at least some of the Selkath government have a bit of a brain, the rest of the Selkath seem to be living, what's a good way to put this? Like arrogant snobs. They seem to think that simply because they have this hostage, that they can do whatever they want. That they can enforce their will, and if you disagree with it, then we're going to bring you to task for that. Your own government will bring you to task for that. They will do what I say because I have this hostage. And so we get a lot of down-talking and a lot of the Selkath enforcing their will upon us. And that also brings us to a really, really stupid point, which admittedly was already mentioned in chat. If the Republic wins, unlikely without our intervention, I must admit, sad as that is to say, then what we have is a situation where these people can go ahead and export KoTOR again, except the Republic is not above playing politics. They're not above the carrot and the stick approach. With the Republic as the only power in charge here, they could easily do any number of things without actually invading to make life very miserable for the Selkath. Trade embargoes, blockades, that kind of a thing, all that stuff that was supposed to be interesting in Phantom Menace. They could do all sorts of stuff. They could just outright start stealing shipments of KoTOR off the books, so to speak. Now, all of that might be a little cynical, but my point is, that's the best case scenario. If the Sith win, they will absolutely show up and say, ha ha. And the best part is, this is the stupid Sith we're talking about. The Sith under Malak. So I guarantee you, I can literally picture this. This is Malak's mindset. This is a planet where we have all this life-giving sustenance. Wipe this planet off the face of the galaxy. Anyone who needs to be healed from a wound is not worthy of surviving. It is the Sith way! Now, I say that like I'm an idiot, but I could actually see Malak having that mindset. Where did our music go? There it goes. I could literally see Malak having that mindset and deciding to just glass the planet because we don't need that. These people gave refuge to the Republic, and we must show them that is unacceptable. He could do that now. And probably the only reason he isn't doing it now is because he's busy trying to get his linchpin. Hi, Jedi Killer. We cheated them in. Um, welcome to the stream. Where the hell was I? The other interesting thing, though, about this whole policy of the Selkath is it's the same type of perspective that the that we've been talking about this whole time. The idea of short-term gains in exchange for long-term detriments. You know, not thinking of the consequence of your actions, that whole thing. But I digress. We'll talk about a few more things as we go through. We got to do a few quests here really quick. Even though he has joined your group. I've never seen that one before.
Got something on your mind?
Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. That's what I'm here for, Brownian. To destroy everything. Or, I mean...
No, I never did I? Elusive? Me, elusive? Obviously, you've never tried to grab a Twi'lek dancing girl after drinking too much Onderon Willick juice.
Tell me that you can't see your Shredder
I
now.
already told you why I wanted to leave. I'd seen everything I wanted to on Kashyyyk. Time to go.
No, we're going to do the Leviathan literally after this planet. Oh, you're right, Dios, I do. I'll do that after we finish these first two quests here.
To bed. I'm old and tired, you know. How many kilometer-high trees can you find an interest in before you figure you've had enough? I'd bet you can't be bothered to stay in one room for more than 15 minutes. And then there's all the critters in the Shadowlands. I'm just happy to be back in space, doing something new. Is that too much to ask? So I could. Well, not having a ship does tend to put a damper on that kind of idea, however. I'll admit, for all its flaws, Kashyyyk was home enough. But when you came along and I saw the destiny you had...
Destiny. Take a drink.
I couldn't help but be intrigued.
So what is my destiny, Jolee?
Of course not. Weren't you listening last time? I can see that you have a destiny before you, but the details are far from clear. In fact, everything about you that I can see is odd. Slightly off, as if my eyes are trying to trick me. Something is very dark about you. But, I'm sure you don't need to hear my ruminations.
Ruminations!
Probably got
Sorry.
enough nosy Jedi offering you one opinion after another to make you sick. Your future will come of its own accord, trust me. Sometimes navel-gazing at it doesn't get you anywhere. I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. You remind me a bit of Nomi. That can be all bad. Nomi, Sunrider. She came late to the Force, just as you have, and became one of the greatest Jedi...
Just once, Reach.
Oh, fine lass. Whether you'll follow the same path remains to be seen. For one thing, we'll never get anywhere if you stand around chatting up old men all day. Nonsense. If I ever refused to help you when you asked, how confused can one person be anyway? One thing I will say is that this little escapade does remind me a bit of my adventuring days before the war. Those were exciting times. Or at least it would remind me of those times if we didn't stand around. What's keeping you? You're too young to be so talkative. Shoo!
I agree, by the way. A lot of Jolee's discussions to you is literally just things that you would consider to be common sense. And this is the wisdom that the Jedi Council has ignored. Yep, we're on Manaan. And now we're leaving Manaan. Bye! Whoa, Spinduin.
My Cathar blood sea.
Okay, I've already done. We're at the quest point with her. The council shoot him. Where's Dantooine? Wait, why am I taking the girl to Dantooine? Seriously. Am I... I mean... Dantooine... She's, no, but she's gonna frickin' die if I take her to Dantooine. Hey, okay, he's gonna leave Dantooine, right? When I take her there, her, he, it. Please, please tell me he's gonna take her, because I know the guy. He's the Twi'lek over in the corner. Kashi, wunda wunda wunda. We might have another drinking moment here, by the way, guys. I gotta get my chips ready. Yep, there's one. Okay, it's just the one.
Ronda di hotonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Tugni
Mucho shakapanga.
tolpa da pongwale kando nangugu chuchu.
Kipuna. Bonanak.
Takom justach miki grabalmogo. Kachi ita hotunga.
Tong abuk shami nonok. Tong ki ba non tontek. Selima wanga kun bikin.
Tong haitwam chichi jumblumpa. Nita poe tikito.
Aw, only one Kashi in that one. I think we're done with most of the Kashis at this point in time. Yes, camera. It was. Bunda 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 is my personal favorite, by the way.
Something on you. Did I say that? Strange the trick's memory plays on you when you get older. Didn't I say that my past was my affair? You don't see me poking and prodding you with questions, do you? I'm not here to satisfy your curiosity. No staring at the old man. That's what the sign says, damn it. And besides, you don't really want to hear about me. We're talking ancient history. Probably before you were born. History bores kids. Proven fact. Oh, fine, fine. Have it your way. Just don't cry about it later. Yes, I was an adventurer. Happy now? I wasn't even done with my Jedi training back then. I had a full head of hair and an eagerness to see absolutely everything. Sound familiar? The Council was never happy with willful, brash Jolee Bindo, you see. Even less so when I began my smuggling career. Don't look at me like that, damn it. I wasn't always the wrinkled coot I am now, you know. I can still fight, too. So wipe off that smirk I see there. At the time, the Yukata system was interdicted by its own king. He preferred to keep his people starving and poor, all the better to oppress them. The Senate was trying to negotiate a peace, but they were getting nowhere as usual. I decided I wasn't going to wait. I found myself a ship and a partner, and we began smuggling food and supplies to the Yukata citizenry through the blockade. Oh, it was. I was a half-decent pilot in those days, and with the Force guiding me, we made it through some tough spots nobody else would have. Pilot, smuggler, several other things too. Or did you suppose I was always a crotchety hermit? Well, we didn't buy all the equipment per se. Some were happy to donate goods. Some we just knew had more than they could use. Stole is such a harsh word. They would have donated those goods readily enough if they were compassionate. I considered it a tax on the greedy. We only got caught once. A lone Ukadish frigate shot us down and forced a crash landing. I thought the Force had abandoned me, as I remember. Well, as it happens, getting shot down turned out to be very fortunate. That day was the day Well, that was the day I met my wife. It's all right. When you're digging through the trash, you shouldn't be surprised when you encounter something unpleasant. If it's all the same to you, I'd prefer to stop talking now. My mouth is starting to draw flies.
You know, I find it interesting that one of the most common themes of all the characters in KoTOR 1 is regret. You notice that? Candrace, Jolee, Mission, Karth. Ah! There's another one. Take a drink, or whatever you're doing. Spin to win. Okay, we did that, we did that. Back to Manaan. Did you see that that crash thing pop up for a second there? Seriously. Well, it's better than other things, Rory. Really, Lafayette? Okay. I'll let one of my viewers answer that question. Okay, so, if I'm not mistaken, which I am, apparently. Yep. Well, I was about to say, it's our first crash, like, the whole game. We have managed to not crash the entire game, and then all of a sudden, crash! As we're leaving Dantooine, of all things. Oh, wow, McPie, that was just bad. I've said it before and I've said it again. I actually like the voice acting there. But I'm also going the wrong way. I want to go this way. And by the voice acting, I mean the two voice clips for the Zelkath. I know there's only the two. I just happen to enjoy the sound of their speech. That's all. And here we are. Great city for lore. Irritating city for layout. We're actually only going to be doing a couple of the quests here. So, that. Ah, that's a Pazak player. Wrong guy, wrong guy. Pretty place, too. Did we ever establish if this came out before or after Episode 2? I guess that's stupid. We know this game was being developed before Episode 2, regardless. So we do know one way or the other. Let me in.
Obey the laws here on Manaan, human.
Yeah, okay. Law obeying is what I'm here to... Hey, you! Let me in. Don't worry, I will follow all of your rules. I obey. Do not make me pay the docking fee.
The Jedi Council wouldn't approve, but they always were a little stodgy about using the Force on people. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay. I mean, I could have given him some of my 50,000 credits or however much. Actually, I don't know that much. I have 20 grand at the moment. But screw that. I also have to admit, The game has an interesting graphics engine that is partially aged well and partially not. But I think they did a good job with Manaan. I mean, I know it's just an ocean, but still, that's a nice skybox for 2003. Especially for a console game. No elitism here. Okay, so... God, I have no idea where to go first. I barely remember this city. Okay. So let's head this way. Because we got several things we want to deal with pretty much right off the bat here. Lol, fearsome. First we have to engage in a conversation.
Your precious Republic's days are numbered. It won't be long until Malak turns his armada loose on Coruscant itself.
Save your empty threats, Sith scum. Malak isn't stupid enough to attack the core worlds, now with the entire Republic fleet waiting for him.
You're a fool. The Sith descend on Coruscant, our numbers will block out the sun itself. The galactic senators will collapse trembling in fear and beg for mercy at Malak's feet.
You underestimate the Republic's resolve. We'll die before we surrender Coruscant.
That can be arranged. Remember what happened to Taris. Malak could do the same to the core worlds.
He wouldn't dare.
Now it is you who underestimate our resolve.
Kakinja nawabakaon, pichage borang turang, nada chawa yishun kun, no bamut. Chiwi aitak, dong. Jiska dosuk, kakinja. Chiwi aitak ka dong hitwama aki. Chiwa ai chiwi aitak.
Right, I have to talk to him alone. Whatever. So, I just feel like pointing out two things about the conversation earlier between the Sith and the Republic soldiers. Thing number one. Yes, Malak really is that stupid. He absolutely would totally attack the core worlds. But there's something else hidden in that dialogue that actually really shines a light on the current military situation. And, well, how screwed up the Republic is. I know. We've spent like this entire lore run talking about how screwed up the Republic is. But they are! They're screwed up, damn it! They're screwed up! I'm going to explain what I mean by this. The Republic has all... It's implied here and stated outright a couple other places, in the comics, I believe, actually, that with the assault that the Sith had been doing, the Republic literally withdrew its fleets to the core worlds. You know, the worlds that matter, like Corellia and Coruscant, all this fun stuff. So it was like, screw everywhere else, we're just going to go in and do this. And they sat here and hid. And that's the Republic's strategy. So if you're ever wondering why the Sith are just slowly expanding, it's not because... I mean, yes, Malak has infinite resources, effectively. Yes, Malak is trying to get the Jedi to turn to him and all that fun stuff. But imagine how many people have willingly signed up with him because all he has is the ability to produce ships and armor and weapons and droids, right? He can't make people. All the people have been joining him because all those people have been abandoned by the Republic. Think about how many people would willingly join up with the conquering force just out of spite or out of necessity. You know? So, yeah. Messed up. Like...
Welcome to Manaan. I'm Roland Wan. As the official representative of the Republic Embassy on this planet, I'm here to help all citizens of the Republic should they require aid.
I'm just kind of pointing this out, by the way, because it also explains why Malak is succeeding in his conquest. Because his tactics are so stupid and so wasteful and so blunt, ridiculous, that even with numbers on his side, it doesn't really work that way as long as the other side has any level of competency with regards to it. And they do. The Republic does have a competent military. Even at this era. But the Republic isn't resisting him right now, and that's part of the problem. But anyways. Absolutely none, Wolfdog. If a competent leader was in charge of the Sith Empire's military, they would have won like a year ago. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but Revan would have won, absolutely. There's literally not. I wouldn't even roll the dice on that one.
KoTOR is a precious resource. Its healing powers are near miraculous. During times of war, KoTOR becomes even more valuable. As long as we have the permits, we will continue to harvest KoTOR and ship it to our Republic soldiers.
He is actually that stupid in lore, okay? It's actually a character trait.
Privileges. If there was some way we could gain an edge over the Sith in our KoTOR supply, but the Selkath are fiercely protective of their neutrality in this conflict. They do not want to grant either side an advantage.
It's not so much stupidity as the character trait, so much as his massive amount of flaws. Malak was always the brute force guy, even before he became Malak, even when he was Alec before that. He was just the brute force, I'm stronger than you, and I'm just going to win by beating you down. Nothing else to him, right? And so when he became a Dark Lord of the Sith and a leader, it was suddenly expected of him to be this great leader. And he had absolutely no idea how to deal with that. So he surrounded himself with people who could actually do things, and then slowly convinced himself that he was better than them. Jar Jar Binks, lamppost. Followed closely by Darth Bandon.
Oh, of course. Of course, I'll do whatever I can. But I'm only a simple diplomatic representative of the Republic. I doubt I can be of any use to the Jedi Council.
Like, for example, let me give you an example of this. I'll talk about this later, but when we get to the Starforge and we're charging the Starforge, he actively sends people against you who are... He sends Bashla against you, even knowing that Bashla probably will not defeat you, even knowing that Bashla is the only reason his fleet is winning the battle that's happening around him, to slow you down so he can start his ultimate plan, which involves droids. That's the kind of tactical genius that Malak has.
An ancient and forgotten race. And you think it may be here on Manaan? Well, perhaps. But if you want to get information about that, you'll have to do something for me first. We were using a submersible reconnaissance droid in the ocean surrounding Ahto City, and it was damaged. It took a data recording of the outside of the city before being driven off by the Faraxan sharks, but while it was returning to the surface, it encountered difficulties and was disabled. Its automatic systems floated it to the surface, but we could not retrieve it in time. The Sith were applying subtle pressure to the Selkath authorities for some reason we've not determined, and were able to delay us long enough that they could retrieve the droid before we did. The droid's data centers are heavily encrypted, so it will take the Sith several days, we believe, to get to its data. It was captured 12 hours ago. It is imperative that we get it back.
Forgive me for making up a quote off the top of my head, McRotch, but an idiot with a big stick can still do a lot of damage.
It's heavily guarded, we're sure, in the Sith embassy here on Manaan. Since we have no remaining soldiers to spare, and certainly not our elite ones, we have no one capable of entering the Sith base and retrieving it. That is what we would ask you to do.
Droids.
There are several leads we've been working on to get into the Sith base. Any of them should work for you, although it might be wise to concentrate your efforts on just one. The first method that's possible is to help us interrogate a Sith prisoner we managed to catch after he tried to infiltrate our base. He's being held just inside our enclave. We think he may be able to give us the passcode that the Sith give their informers to enter the base. He has proved most resilient so far.
Possibly, Nerazaz. Malak is not really that good in combat. He never has been. Let me explain one other reason why Malak is retarded. Malak uses the Starforge to consume the life energy of Jedi that he kidnaps, specifically to fuel that into him, to heal him. So, even ignoring gameplay mechanics, what he does with this convoluted scheme, which has limited, lifespan, because you have to eat living, force-using souls to do this, is he has created KoTOR packs. Yeah, no, Malak is really, really, really dumb in lore. Honestly, as I've said before, one of Revan's biggest flaws was his loyalty to Malak, despite the fact that he really shouldn't be. You know, in honor of his friendship and all that fun stuff. Whoop, whoop. Wrong direction. Yeah, turn this back down to 50. Why is my... Oh, I see why my lighting's off. Yeah, whatever, I'll fix that later. There we go.
Good. It's a logical place to start. But you should also hear about the other options available to you. We managed to pick up a crate of...
I don't know, Wolfdog. I think Palpatine would like someone who actually accomplishes something, rather than fails non-stop for his entire career!
But if you are more skilled than our technicians, you may be able to gain access that way.
Oh! That reminds me, guys. I have news for you guys, okay? Ready for this? I am apparently the Rush Limbaugh of Star Wars.
The Sith have got the Selkath to give them exclusive use of one of the main hangar bays. Visiting Sith Masters use this bay to land, then take a speeder over the water to an external entrance to the Sith Enclave. The luckless spy we mentioned earlier had a pass card to that hangar on him. While it is surely well guarded, it may prove to be the most direct route.
Hey, Freddy Bobs.
The Sith base itself is very heavily guarded. If they became aware of your presence, I fear you would be quickly outnumbered and killed. Here is a pass card to get you inside our facility. You should find all you need to get started in there.
For those of you who don't get it, I'm happy for you.
As long as you get in the base and get the data recording back. Which method do you think you would like to try first?
It's an insult. For those of you who don't get it, it's an insult.
You'll need luck for that one.
Blah, 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 blah. Let's go. This is not even what I want to do yet. Bill O'Reilly. Ouch, Petey. You're just being mean today. Someone who's about 30 feet that way, okay? If you understand what I mean. There's nothing to explain. It's an insult. The end. Go YouTube Rush Limbaugh. It'll become clear very quickly. Actually, don't. I take that back. I'm the Arshian guy of Star Wars? I don't know. I've heard that Arshian guy is really dull and not fun to watch and just, yeah. He's not cool at all. Yes, you did, Darkon. I already talked about the stupidity of the Wookiee situation. That's true. I heard this Arshian guy doesn't even play League of Legends. Like, he played it once, kind of for a joke.
Jolee, it is you. I need your help.
Laura, of all the people, how did you even know I'd left?
Hey, Chum Marius.
I didn't. Nobody knew where you were, not even Sunry. But I heard the Selkath mention you and your friends. The Force has brought you to help us.
Why? Whatever could be the matter, my dear?
It's horrible, Jolee. Sunry has been arrested. The Sith have accused him of murder.
Murder? But how?
It's all a mistake, Jolee. Sunry isn't a murderer. Someone is trying to frame him.
Calm down, Elora. Where's Sunry now?
Sunry's being held at the Selkath courts. They won't let anyone in to see him. Please, go to the courts. Talk to the judges. Maybe the Selkath will listen to you.
Don't worry, Elora. We'll get to the bottom of this and help Sunry. Somehow.
Really? Paradox? Ultimate Politics? Really? Wow. Just... wow. In my opinion, the closest one to an equivalent to Malak and KoTOR 2 is Rook! Because he's a frickin' moron. Although it is also debatable that Atris is up there too, but I would disagree with both. Malak is like a unique form of stupid. I say without hyperbole, he is among the top 5 stupidest people in the entire franchise. That's not a joke. He really is that short-sighted, incapable of critically thinking, incapable of lateral thinking, incapable of puzzle solving, incapable of planning, incapable of tactics. He is just dumb.
So, do we have a deal?
That's an awful lot of money. Is there something you're not telling me?
Don't be so suspicious. The Republic is generous. We pay our mercenaries well.
Makes sense, I guess. All right, I'm in. When do I start?
Just show up at the Republic Embassy tomorrow and speak to our representative there. I'm sure he'll have some task he wants you to start on right away.
I am the Peter Molyneux of Star Wars. How does that work? Guys, I've got this idea for a new game. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to have, like, you're going to be able to grow amazingness, and there's going to be butterflies flying out of your butt as you're playing the game, and then God himself looks into the heavens and say, you are amazing because you're playing this game, and then I'm going to release Force Unleashed 2.
The Republic respects the peace of Otto City, Your Honor. But the Sith are a violent people who leave violence in their wake. I have 3 soldiers in the infirmary.
If the Republic soldiers were more capable, they would not have
I know that voice.
such serious injuries. Are my soldiers to be punished simply because they won a fair fight?
I hardly call 6 against 3 a fair fight. The Sith are cowards who attack only when they have the advantage of numbers.
There was no point, True Town.
They were provoked, Your Honor. The Sith goaded them into this fight.
Is that Clark, Cam Clark? Since no Selkath were harmed in this conflict, I will show mercy and level a fine of 10,000 credits to both sides for a fisticuffs fight in their territory. 10,000 credits. I forgot that little tidbit. That's insanity. That's insanity. That's ridiculous. Right, I can't.
Manaan should treat us Sith better. Their day of reckoning approaches. The Selkath have forgotten the lesson of Taurus. Perhaps we should remind them.
I'm sick of hearing about Manaan's neutrality. It sounds like a coward's excuse not to fight, if you ask me.
No, Gamertech. Also, already own the Force Unleashed games. Sorry, guys. I've already played them and everything. Alright, Reach, let's do it! Ah, 10,000! Ah, 10,000! Okay, I'm broke. This is funny. An arbiter is a neutral party that can investigate and present evidence in the trial and argue on the defendant's behalf. If you pay attention for even a millisecond, those two things are actually completely in contradiction.
I suppose you're Sunry's only hope. We have to at least try to help him.
Hang on, we're going to pause this one because I need to talk about this. one of the ways that legality works is you argue for your side regardless of whether it is accurate or not. You just kind of, it's your job. You argue for your side, period. One of the other ways that legality can work is you argue for the truth, whatever the actual justice is, regardless of all personal bias or otherwise bias. So in other words, if he was guilty, we would say we have found him to be guilty. We are the neutral party and have determined that he is guilty. So you see how this kind of can be contradictory of themselves, especially since, spoiler alert, he's super guilty. But this is still kind of a gray situation. We're going to talk about this a little bit in a moment here. So a crippled old man killed a Sith woman. That's the basis of it, right? Witnesses claim to have seen the killing. Elasa was found at the vessel and held an incriminating Republic medal, which was his medal.
Yes, but it almost seems too heavily stacked, doesn't it? Very suspicious.
So, even to this day, I haven't fully 100% decided what the best possible outcome is for this. I'll talk about it in a moment. We got to talk to Sunry at first, at the bare minimum here. As soon as I remember where he is. Where's part of Force Unleashed 2?
I hear you've been appointed as
Yeah,
arbiter in Sunry's
the story, or lack thereof.
My husband is innocent. Please don't let him go to jail for a crime he didn't commit. Sunry he's a cripple. There's no way he could have overpowered the Sith woman like they claim.
That's true. I'd forgotten about that. Let's not forget that he would have to have been considerably older than the Sith woman. I'm a Jedi, and one who is living alone in the Shadowlands until recently. That keeps you in shape, damn it. We're talking about Sunry here.
And there's no way he would do something so dishonorable as hit her from behind. Sunry's a decorated war hero. He's a hero of the Republic. Find the real evidence. That's all I ask. The real evidence will prove Sunry didn't do this.
In terms of culture, personality, lore, Mon Calamari. Mon Calamari are freaking awesome. Seriously, they're one of my favorite species in Star Wars. And not just because of Akbar. In terms of purely visual aesthetic, I've always liked the appearance of the Selkath. Wars make not one, do not make one great. So, let's talk to Sunry, shall we? Pay attention to what he says here.
Jolee, what are you doing here? Alora sent me, Sunry. I'm here to get you out of this mess. The courts went and made us arbiters for your case.
Just like old times, eh, Jolee? You come swooping in out of nowhere to save my tail from the fire?
You saved my wrinkle butt more than a few times as well, friend, if I recall. But there'll be time for catching up later. Right now, we need to focus on the case.
The case is a complete frame-up. Anyone looking at the evidence could see that. Or so I thought. But the Selkath seem to think that there's enough to go to trial. There aren't any witnesses. All that evidence against me is circumstantial and completely flawed. Well, I was at the hotel, I admit. And I did meet Elasa there that night, but it's not what you think. I was working with Republic intelligence. We were pretending to feed information to the Sith. Well, I turned Elasa into a double agent working for us. It was going well, too, until she turned up dead. Maybe the Sith had found out I was turning her and had her eliminated. But let's look at the facts they've given. Elasa was brutally killed. Think about that. She was a Sith, trained in battle, and I'm just a crippled old man. My war injuries make it difficult for me to walk, even to hold things. See how my hands are shaking? How could I kill a Sith warrior at close quarters? I ask you. Further, they say they found my heroes cross at the crime scene. Would I leave my war medal behind if I killed someone? Even I'm not that stupid. Obviously, the Sith planted the cross. And what about the lack of forensic evidence? Skin and hair samples, clothing fibers. Why isn't there anything like that at the crime scene? Sounds like an obvious frame-up to me. I hope you can see how the Sith are manipulating the Selkath, and probably even you to set up this against me. We need to get this over with quickly and clear my name. Anything else I can help you with? I want my arbiter to be well prepared before we go to trial.
I'll give my thoughts at the end, Pandemonium. I want to let my viewers give their thoughts on the Sunry situation. By the way, if anyone wants to give their thoughts like Pandemonium just did, I'm listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation if you already know this quest and how it works out.
Guess you could interview witnesses at the hotel where the murder happened. The Selkath already did that, but the fish folk don't have much rapport with Offworlders. Maybe one of them was holding something back. But I think you'd be better off investigating the Sith themselves. Maybe you could find some proof they planted evidence to frame me. Though that might mean figuring out a way into the Sith embassy. Anything else I can help you with? I want my arbiter. Go ahead. How would they know? They weren't there. I heard some of the witnesses said that too, but I swear she was alive when I left. I wonder if the Sith have been putting pressure on people to get them to convict me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. They've had it in for me since the war. You should ask everyone about that. They might admit to helping the Sith under pressure. Very well. I suppose there is still much you must do before the trial. Once you've gotten enough evidence to go to trial, just tell the warden we're ready. The sooner I get out of the cell, the better.
It actually does all sound a lot like Frank Welker. Not sure if it's him or not, though. We're going to do something real quick here. Because, yeah. As everyone else in chat is pointing out the things I would point out. That's why I'm kind of staying silent. I'm just keeping note of the interesting things, I guess is the way to put that. Let me through. Let me through.
So nice to meet an impartial judge for a change. You said it, not I.
I just realized I should be voice acting these so you don't have to read these. But whatever. What do you think of the Sith and the Empire? Or the Sith and the Republic? I find this great battle waged across the galaxy both disturbing and ultimately tragic. For all its flaws, your tottering republic has benefited the vast majority of the galaxy for many millennia. To see it fall into ruin in such a short time. I do not like the Sith, and I make no effort to hide. I will even admit that, given the option, I would rule that we should join the Republic. But I must remain impartial, as the law requires. There's a strong theory going around that the whole impartial, neutral mentality of the Selkath is purely a legal thing. If you don't know what I mean by that, it's not really a cultural thing, because the Selkath themselves aren't neutral. Every individual Selkath you talk to actually does not have a neutral mentality. But they all agree they must stay neutral because that's the way the law works. Tradition, right? Even if they disagree with it. Food for thought. I tend to agree with that last echo. Both empires are at fault for this current conflict. The Republic in the past for laying the foundations upon which the Sith Empire grew, and the Sith now, obviously, for starting the war. No matter what wrongs have been done in the past, the Sith now have no cause for renewing hostilities. It's almost as if they just want to conquer everything. I believe the Republic has every right to defend itself and drive the Sith back where they come from. Fortunately for them, and perhaps for us, they do not seem to be doing a good job of it. Sunry is a former Republic officer who is highly regarded by your people. He is admired by your people here in Manaan, and even seems to maintain some relations with them as well. He is capable, as some Republic citizens still believe him to be. He is certainly capable of the actions that would result in murder. What do you think of the Sith Empire? I do not buy into the Republic line that this is some epic battle of good Republic versus the evil Sith Empire. The Sith Empire is merely an expansionist power, much like the Republic was early in its history. It is simply the turning of history, where the old is swept away by the better new. Sunry was a Republic soldier, a hero even. Do you think his Republic masters would let someone so valuable go so easily? I think not. I think Sunry maintains his contacts with the Republic and seeks to escalate the situation here. Yeah, by the way, spoiler alert, he did kill her. But there are some interesting mitigating circumstances. I am a scoundrel guardian, Mandarn. Alright, Titans, you're the first to go! I need to go this way, I believe. Ah, yes. So, for those of you not aware, the Republic has been hiring mercenaries a lot. We're talking flinging money at mercenaries. Now, if we actually interrogated the Republic about this, they would give an extremely stupid line. They would say, well, we're hiring them up to ensure that the Sith don't hire them up. Except that's not really feasible, especially to hire them at such high cost. In an intergalactic war, a few hundred, at best, mercenaries aren't really going to make the difference in that war, right? So why are they hiring all those mercenaries? So, this guy wants us to look into that.
Look into this to calm the Selkath's fears, though I doubt the Republic would be involved in anything illegal.
Start poking your nose in a place it doesn't belong, and you might not like what you find.
Yeah, the Republic would never condone slavery on Terrace. Excuse me.
Hey man, clear out. They're cramping my style with the ladies.
Yeah, okay. So this is another quest. The disappearances of the Selkath. See, this is great. There's this big neutral planet, and the Republic are capturing, hiring mercenaries specifically to do untoward things with them. Basically, they're trying to cut. Imagine if this is the source of the KoTOR. And here's where the Selkath are, and then it branches out from here, right? I know this is a weird visual metaphor, but bear with me. So here's the Holto, here's the Selkath gathering it. The Republic are trying to get in right in the middle here and siphon off some of the Kolto for themselves. The Sith are trying to turn the Selkath into a new generation of Sith warriors who would then overthrow the government and be in favor of the Sith Empire. You know, I almost feel...
might have a position within the Sith organization for one such as you.
Your offer is pretty good, but I've heard some nasty things about you, Sith. Is it true you bombed Taris into dust?
This is
No.
war. In war, certain distasteful acts cannot be avoided. But ask yourself this: when we win the war, would you rather be against the Sith
When
or
we
with
win the
us?
war.
You make a good point. And I've never turned down a job that pays up front.
Excellent. Report to the Sith Embassy tomorrow for your assignment.
Yeah, by the way, both of those plans go really, really, really bad. Which is hilarious. Where's the apartment? Is that... It's got to be in the other end. Okay. Yeah, okay, this way. Yeah, I know, isn't that weird, Turcon? So you can tell Malik didn't come up with that plan. Yeah, tell me about it, Kay. You should join us, because if you don't, you'll be killed along with everyone else when we win. Why don't I ever think of recruiting like that? Hey guys, you should join me. If you don't, it'll be bad for you when I win. Oh, fine, Foo. I only got it for the appearance, if I'm honest. Jahani, I need you to go away for a second. Wait. Why do I need +5 wisdom? I have a bajillion wisdom. What am I doing? Why am I letting you talk me into this? Damn it, man. There. Like I said, I kind of like Manaan. It feels very much like a bit of a break. And again, lots of awesome politics to talk about and to think about as I'm going through it. And the awesome trial quest, even if it's an optional quest. But... well, let's just say Manaan is going to start pissing me off as soon as I get down below. Not looking forward to that.
How much for all this stuff, Tyvark?
Chiwi aita ka chong chicha. Agi inko tune chunamuri ra.
Thanks, Tyvark. Tyvark hates the Sith, so he's always giving us Republic soldiers discounts. I bet he gives you Jedi a great deal.
Oh, cool. Let's see you around. Yeah. Oh, there's where I haven't gone. Yeah, it looks like I'll probably be hitting Korriban tomorrow, because I might get to the Leviathan tonight. Might. Remember when these load times were terrible? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Okay, super important announcement time, guys. Anyone who is currently listening to me, who is not named Foo...
This street is for Sith only. You gotta pay a 20 credit toll to walk down this street.
This is a public street.
Hiding behind the Selkath laws. Typical Republic cowardice.
What? Okay. Whatever. Yeah, sorry guys, it's a little harder to goad me into a fight than that. Just a little. It's a 20 credit fee. Okay, here you go.
You got any armor plating for my swoop bike? I thought this garbage was free. You actually sell this junk? You fish are a strange breed. Don't worry, junk man. When I want garbage, I'll be back.
So anyways. Recent Freddy bombs? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna cheat and go with the Hobbit trilogy. Yeah. Oh god, guys, can you imagine if the Selkath really were the deep ones? And this whole neutrality thing was actually just them trying to, you know, screw with you. And prepare for the end times and all that fun stuff. Okay, I am literally missing where I'm going. Where's the freaking apartment? The hotel, specifically, is what I'm looking for. Wait, I know where the freaking hotel is. Damn it! This planet. Ugh. That does sound like a hate boy, yes, Lurker. I'd like to buy this. It costs 40 credits. Oh, I hate you. I hate everything. Yeah, I agree, Pandemonium. KoTOR 1 doesn't gray out the Sith like they really should have, even though there's hints that the Sith overall are not that bad. Just about every individual Sith we encounter is a bastard. I do, Fu, even to this day, as I'm demonstrating just now. Yeah, go ahead, Zeiss. I was going to, but I was doing this, which is the only reason I haven't yet. Whoops, wrong way, wrong way. This way.
You're the one defending Sunry now, huh? Well, the hotel's open for you. And I guess I gotta answer any questions you want, too. The Sith woman, Alasa, rented a room in the hotel. An hour or two later, Sunry comes in and goes to her room. A couple hours later, I hear a blaster shot and see Sunry running. He can't run good because he's a cripple, but he still was going pretty fast. I would swear he started after the shot, though. Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure he left after the shot went off. What do you want to know? Alasa used to rent rooms here every week or so. Then Sunry would come by a couple hours later and stay all night. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what was going on.
The irony is it is slightly more complicated than that. Obsidian, Wolf Dog.
There were
Easy
only
answer.
two other people in the hotel when it happened. One was a Rhodian named Gloopor. Seems like a really dirty, shifty type. Normally I don't let his kind in here. I'm a reputable businessman, you know. But there weren't many people here, so I decided to take a chance. The other is a regular named Firith Me. He's a Bazak player. Probably an addict, but he claims he's big in some circles. Don't know anything about him other than that. Anything else you want to know?
That's actually true, Last Echo. There are decent Sith on Korriban. I actually forgot about that. I think that's the only real location where that's true in KoTOR 1.
You with the Selkath? You here to see me about the murder, too? I told the damn fish everything I knew. What more do you all want from me? Sunry, I only heard of once or twice in passing. Some sort of old-time war hero against the Sith. Seen him around in the hotel, too. Going to Alasa's room always, of course. Kept the rest of the building up half the night with their damn antics, usually. I'm not saying anything like that. What they did in that room, in private, is their
It's not working,
business.
Fearsome.
And there isn't any rule against Sith and Republic seeing each other for personal reasons. Although if you think her Sith master didn't know, you must be fooling yourself. Well, Elassa was a Sith, so of course she'd have to have someone above her. Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Maybe if I force persuaded you.
You know, I think I could trust you. Heck, I don't even know why I shouldn't tell you. Well, one time, I saw Elassa coming in wearing this big cloak. I was on my way to my room, and she normally wears stuff like that, so I didn't pay her too much attention. But this time, I accidentally brushed up against her.
Accidentally, of course.
And her cloak fell open. Now, I don't have any qualms about the Sith. I leave them alone, and they leave me alone. And seeing as how Elassa had a Sith lightsaber under her cloak, I'm not going to poke that hornet's nest. Seems so. But I'm not getting myself in any further with the Sith. I know how ruthless they are. Now, that's all I'm going to tell you. I'll testify it to the court, but you aren't going to get anything else out of me.
How did I get dark side points? Oh, screw you, game. Alright, now for the really important one. This is where things get a little gray. Here with Selkath, you have questions for Gloopor? Gloopor already say everything he knows. Gloopor tells everything to Selkath. You not know? Gloopor have no reason not to say. Gloopor tell everything. Everything about murder, everything about Sith Lady's room. Okay, why were we at the hotel? I was staying at the hotel. Gloopor not very rich. Hotel much too rich for Gloopor to live at. But Gloopor saved for weeks and have enough to stay here for a few days. Gloopor's chance to live better for a while. What'd you see? Gloopor not see murder, no. Gloopor did see Republic guy, the cripple. Sunry, his name. Gloopor thinks. Gloopor sees Sunry running away from the scene of the crime. Gloopor see nothing else. Nothing else at all, especially not in the Sith Lady's room. So what in the room? Gloopor just curious to see what happened. Gloopor had no reason to go into the room. No one paid Gloopor to do it. You were going to tell me why you went in there. Gloopor want to tell you. Gloopor want to tell you Sith paid him money to plant metal on body. Gloopor want to tell you this because you are Gloopor's friend. Good friend. Maybe give Gloopor money? Maybe not. Peace. So, yeah, Gloopor planted the metal on the corpse, but that's kind of obvious when you think about it. I mean, seriously, why the hell would he drop his honorary medal when he murdered someone, right? That's ridiculous. There's got to be something else going on here. But unfortunately, all we have is the wrong room. Hang on, wrong room, wrong room. Or that was the right room. Where's the frickin'... Where's the computer panel? Where's the computer panel? Ah! Hey, Samurai, by the way. Hope the unpacking is still going well for you. Okay, am I just missing it? Let's go back in here. I have to do it on the droid. Hey, droid. Nope. It's in the embassy. Thank you. I don't know why I was thinking it was here. Hello, mysterious man.
Jedi, I hear you are investigating the Sunry murder trial, are you not? This case is not at all what it appears to be. Many currents, might I say, flow beneath the surface. Let us just say that I'm an interested party, and that I have concerns. This murder is much more complicated than it may first appear. The Sunry and Elassa are proxies for their governments, and both sides want the other to fail. You can see the journey by the footprints. You understand, yes?
Yes.
I'm saying they both had something to do with it. They've both kept their hands in this from the start. If you want to get to the bottom of this murder, you might seek information from both the Sith and the Republic, likely in their embassies. Of course not. You think state secrets are for sale on the common market? You would have to be devious to get what you want. Heed my advice, Jedi. and you may yet find the truths in this murder.
I like the idea that that's just some random street thug or street crazy who just really likes sounding ominous and whatnot. So he saw this Jedi and was like, "Ooh, yes, yes, I can act all serious and make it look like I know more than I do. Yes, and then everything will be wonderful. Yes, I cannot wait." You know, that kind of a thing. Excuse me, excuse me. I'm with the Republic. With the Republic. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Nope, wrong way. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. Excuse me. Excuse me.
You're the one who's gonna try to get into the Sith base, eh? Huh. Good luck. You're gonna need it. This is our main computer room here. We got the box of pass cards we got from the Sith, but we haven't been able to break their encryption yet. We have been able to decode the numeric system they use, but there are holes in our terminal sequence patterns. The strings of numbers that end the code sequences. If we could complete those strings, we would have the key to their encryption system. The encryption system is composed of 6 matrices. Each is based on a mathematical method. The holes we're missing are the final number in each of the strings. Most are simple, but the final 2 matrices seem to be much more difficult. Well, the second last matrix has a pattern looping back on itself, or something. And the last is divided into smaller subparts. Maybe the pattern for that is within each part. But I have to admit, all this is a bit over my head. I haven't even been able to slice past the first matrix, and I've been at this for hours. I've ruined a dozen cards already. But the good thing is, we have a whole box of them, so you don't have to worry about running out anytime soon. Since Roland said you were cleared, you can use the computer freely. I'll be here if you have any questions.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just use your computer there for completely. Let's slice into the Republic systems. Bzz. Open submarine bay doors with 100 spikes. I don't think I've ever even seen that one. Disable local power grid. 125 spikes. Wow. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna access restricted data. Bzz. The computer screen switches to a fish-eyed view from some sort of wall surveillance camera. A beautiful young woman enters the room, followed by a much older man. As she walks further into the room, he softly closes the door, pulls a blaster, and shoots her in the back. This must be some sort of secret occurring. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah, he did shoot her. In the back, actually. Really, Al-Sabi? Aw. I don't think I've ever even tried that, if I'm honest. That's the easy one. Wow, Lurker. See you around, Kay. He is a poor old man who murdered someone in cold blood. 25, damn it. I don't want to use my brain right now. Okay. Damn. Okay. Nope, nope. Hang on. I'm just gonna... I'm pretty sure I know which one I screwed up, but I don't feel like thinking about it anymore, so... Yeah, I was right. I screwed it up. So... Got that one right. Got that one right. Got that one right. Got that one right. Yeah, I really did just screw up the one. That's kind of sad. I feel sad about that. I screwed up one of those. Hey, Naruki. Shoutouts. We're about to go prove that Sunry was guilty and also innocent. Okay, we've got that evidence, we've got that evidence. I think we're ready to go to trial, actually. Is that at the... trying to remember where the hell everything is here. Is it the East Coast Guard or the West? Let's go to the West, I think. Hang on. It is possible to win the trial knowing he's guilty, yes. It's kind of a choice thing. That's actually kind of the point. And that's why I asked you guys your opinion. In other words, do you think, knowing all the facts, that he should be punished or let go? Now, for those of you who missed it all, here are the facts in totality. Sunry was having an affair with this Sith woman, but it was also business in addition to pleasure. He was trying to get information from her regarding spy business, blah, blah, blah. However, she actually manipulated him in order to get Republic secrets from him because she actually seduced him. Now, first of all, that makes him a cheater, but I'm going to try very hard not to let that bias me. I don't like cheating. However, the weird mitigating circumstances here are as soon as he decided to make the decision to kill her, he did so specifically so that she would not take the information she had and go take it to the Sith and, cause horrible, horrible things to happen, right? And I guess that's kind of it. I mean, that's really the circumstances here. She is a Sith. He is a Republic. Oh, I'm sorry. This is also important. Sunry is actually a Republic officer. So he was killing an opponent in a war. So it is actually very, very likely and very, very easy to argue that he did not murder her. He killed her. And I'm not trying to pull legality into this, but because I've always felt there's a distinction between those two terms. Killing an enemy soldier is literally a completely different thing from murdering someone in cold blood. And yet...
Jolee, coming to check in on an old man? I must confess, I would rather you were here to speak to the warden and begin my trial.
Soon, old friend. We don't want to go to trial until we've got the whole picture.
Oh, I grow weary of staring at these four bare walls. But I suppose you know what you're doing. The role of arbiter cannot be taken lightly.
See, this is why I say that this is not as black and white of a situation as it kind of looks because, as is pointed out in the chat, this is a military situation. These are two powers who are at war. This is not a Cold War situation. This is not all the crap that happened between Russia and the States, the East and the West, during the Cold War. This is World War II, Nazi Germany, spies fighting against, British spies or whatever. This is full state of war between these two situations, and therefore it is a little more gray than it would otherwise appear. But like I said, there is one other thing that I feel taints my opinion on the matter. Because you notice I haven't actually given my opinion yet. I've been avoiding doing that.
Go ahead, ask what you need to. I've got nothing to hide.
So...
No, what this must look like, yes. Yes, we were having an affair. I know it was wrong, but I'm a weak man. Alasa was beautiful and young. How was I to resist her charms? But I didn't kill her. I loved her. Please. I know I made a terrible mistake getting involved with Alasa, but I was going there to break it off with her. I did it, but found out later that she was dead. I don't deserve to go to jail just for having an affair, do I? You have to help me prove that I wasn't the killer.
Notice how everything he said there was confessing to the affair, but not the murder. We know he killed her. This right here is what sways my opinion on this matter. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to do this dialogue, and then I'm going to tell you a story, and you're going to yell at me for talking too much.
Go ahead.
We're going to do two more dialogues then.
A Rodian? I didn't know there were any Rodians on Manaan. Oh, except for Tybark and this one named Glupar who's hanging around the hotel all the time. Okay, so maybe there are a whole bunch of Rodians on Manaan. But what does that matter? If he planted evidence at the scene, it's a clear sign of a frame-up. He probably took all the evidence of the real killer at the same time. The evidence of a Sith conspiracy keeps getting stronger, doesn't it? I suspect there's still stuff you want to clear up. Go ahead, ask. Ask. So the truth is out. I never meant to kill her, you know. When I found out she was a Sith spy using me to gain information, something inside me just snapped. She didn't know I had found out. So I waited until she fell asleep. And then I killed her. Simple, really. But once I realized what I'd done, I panicked. I contacted those spies from the Republic to help me. They found the illegal monitoring device that the Sith had planted in the room, altered its recording to hide my part in it, and cleared up the evidence. I figured that was the end of it. The Sith must have been spying on me and Alasa, trying to make sure she wasn't a double agent. They must have seen the Republic spies getting rid of all the evidence. So they planted their own evidence. Alasa must have stolen that hero's cross from me long ago and given it to her Sith masters like some kind of trophy. I just thought I'd misplaced it. But when the cross turned up on her body, I knew the Sith had put it there. So, now you know the whole story. What are you going to do?
So, if you're paying attention, he's still lying. Not full tilt. He's not completely lying. Instead, he is slanting the truth to try and make himself look less bad. There is no denying that his killing of her was premeditated. There is no denying that. And if he still tries to be like, it was sudden, I didn't mean to, and it was horrible, and no, you walked in there to murder her. One more thing here.
You think I'm some kind of monster, don't
This
you?
line right here.
All I did was kill a Sith. How many Sith have you killed? Dozens? Hundreds? Thousands?
That's different, Sunry, and you know it. You don't kill them in cold blood while they sleep.
I don't see how the two of us are any different. She was a spy. She was using me to get information so Malak's army could destroy the Republic. She deserved to die.
And this is the crux of the dilemma for me. I know that people disagree with me on this, and that's fine. But I tend to think of things in a non-neutral fashion. I don't think justice is black and white or gray. I think we have to consider the realities of ethics and morality when it comes to justice. That's just my opinion. This is a man who killed and murdered someone. Both definitions apply here, I think. And yet, it could have been seen as acceptable. It could have been... I could have actually tried to defend this man if he had been like Benjamin Sisko. Let me rewind and tell you the story I was going to talk too much about. There is a DC Comics, DCAU, the DC Animated Universe story called A Better World. It's one of my favorite of all of DCAU. And what happens in that is in an alternate universe, the Justice League, Superman, Batman, etc., they decide to actually show up and say, "Hi, we're sick of crime." And so they take over the planet. They literally conquer the world to end all the crime and all the poverty and all the supervillains, and they establish a totalitarian dictatorship state. The thing that makes this story so interesting for me is not that they would be pushed to do that. That's logical. That's normal, really. What's interesting to me is that at no point in time does any of the Justice Lords, as they call themselves, except for one, say anything about how it's a bad thing to do. At no point in time do they say, we want to save people, so we're willing to accept this horrible injustice in order to cause good. We're willing to do this great crime to do something better. That's not their perspective. Their perspective is, this is what should be. They standardize it. They normalize it. They make their totalitarian, fascist, dictatorship ways out to be a good thing, instead of, and because there is a lot of complexity in that kind of moral dilemma. Is that right? Is that acceptable for superheroes to do that kind of thing? This is something that comics have talked about many times. But they don't actually think of the dilemma. There is no dilemma there for them. Their dilemma is, there is no dilemma, like I said, and that's the point. In my opinion, that makes them wrong, because they have accepted what is happening. They have accepted doing bad without feeling guilty about it. Benjamin Sisko, in one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek of all time called In the Pale Moonlight, has to do... I'm not going to spoil it, because I know several of my viewers haven't watched Deep Space Nine yet, but he has to do something bad. Pretty bad. Not like grand scale, but he does some really underhanded, dirty things. And yet, he feels very, very guilty about it. He, in his own words, well, in the words of someone else actually, but he loses his dignity, his self-respect. He loses, a few nights of sleep. He basically cannot live. He tries to live with what he did, even though he knows it's horrible. That's the difference right there between the Justice Lords and between Benjamin Sisko. And that's what Sunry has done wrong here. Sunry is taking the Justice Lord route. What I did was right. Not, I regret having to do this horrible thing for what I believe is right. And the distinction between these two things is a massive cliff in my mind. Sunry is guilty, and he should be punished for it.
If I confess, I'm looking at 20 years in prison. And the Otto City officials might even place KoTOR sanctions on the Republic Embassy. Without KoTOR, how can we treat the injuries to our soldiers on the front lines?
Yeah, I remember that, Full Metal. That's been something that's been in my personality and my mindset for a long time.
No, I can't do that. And put the Republic's supply of KoTOR in danger. No, I won't. Look, I may have done something stupid.
Hey, Shadow.
And it may only be worse for my standing by it, but I will not confess. If you turn me in, the Republic will likely lose its KoTOR export
This is
privileges,
not true,
and
by
it
the
will
way.
lose the war for sure. Are you going to send all those thousands, millions like Taurus to their deaths just for your sense of justice?
Sunry, this is wrong and you know it. I am a Jedi. What is it that you expect me to do to defend your actions?
You do whatever you have to, Jolee. I know what I did. But I also know what's at stake here. No, I'll rot in here if I have to. I won't betray the Republic. Do what you have to. But know what the consequences will be.
Hello, Brandbaker. So, yeah. The best possible outcome for me here is to argue that he was acting on his own, an act of passion and violence and blah, 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 blah. And that way the Republic won't get hit with any actual repercussions for doing so. By the way, I do like it how Jolee agrees that he needs to be punished in this matter. Because it really is Jolie's mindset in a nutshell. There's a reason we call him the first Grey Jedi. Let's ask about the Republic really quick. Or wait, no. I guess we're done? Here we go. Let's ask about the Republic and the Sith. The governing bodies of both states seek to keep an amicable relationship with our world in order to facilitate the exportation of KoTOR. I do not delude myself into thinking that either of your states holds any great love for us, but we are necessary, so you will let us hold our autonomy. I try not to concern myself with intergalactic policy. I find it stretches the letter of the law too much for my tastes. Which is hilarious. I need to... Where do I start the case at? I actually don't remember. I thought I started at him. Oh, I gotta go to the Warden, don't I? Well, see, Mandarton, as I pointed out, they gave me two mandates. One to be neutral towards the truth, and one to defend him. So it's kind of up to us what we decide to do there. Blah, 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 blah. Let's begin the trial. It's actually really easy to screw up this trial, by the way. Hey, Caffeine. Alright, guys. Let the record show that the trial of Sunry versus the Otto City Authority has commenced. Presiding are judges Shalkar, Josa, Nalakshen, Kota, and Dula. The trial is to determine the culpability of Sunry in the death of the Sith Elasa. Go for it, Shadow. Representing Sunry in his defense as a member of the Jedi Order, do you have any opening statements? You will find Sunry innocent. Sunry is guilty of murder. I have the recording as proof. Let us enter this new evidence into the records. This evidence is most convincing. The shortness of the trial considerably. In light of this new evidence, there is no need to proceed with witness or cross-examinations. The court finds Sunry guilty of the murder of Sith Alasa. In accordance with Selkath law, the proscribed punishment for murder is death. The verdict has been delivered, and the trial is now over. Remove the guilty from this courtroom.
I'm sorry, Sunry. And Alora, there's nothing more we can do.
Oh, Sunry, no!
Fun fact, the first time I did this, I spent forever on this trial. And then I found out you could just turn in the thing and be like, hey, he's guilty, and it's over very quickly. How can someone join the antagonist for the right reasons and not become evil themselves or enemy as the hero? Imagine joining a great organization that is accomplishing evil shadow in order to try and ensure that good is done within that organization. The right reasons, in other words. And continuing to do good within that, holding on to that hope in order to accomplish more and more things. Working behind enemy lines, so to speak. There's a good example of what your thing is, talking about Shadow. Now, I do wish we could bring the Sith machinations to light, but to my knowledge, there is actually no option for that. If anyone knows, feel free to correct me, so I can reload and do that, because screw them. But, yeah.
Got something on you. What? You think because I'm a hermit, I've always been a hermit? Just because I haven't seen Sunry for 20 years doesn't mean he's not a friend. A man could have changed a lot in that span of time, though. But to become a murderer, I can't see it. That's not the Sunry I knew. He was a good man.
Damn it, Shadow. I hate you.
Back after I left the Order. War hero, too. Or so I hear. I wouldn't mind helping the fellow if we can. I owe it to him. Or you can be a young monkey lizard and ignore me, I guess. Well, I don't expect much these days.
I've always believed Ozymandias is more of the Justice Lord route, personally. Completely convinced he was doing the right thing. No regrets. That's right. That's Last Echo. Whatever. I'll allow you guys to come up with your own decision with regards to him, because there are plenty of different ways to perceive that quest. In my personal opinion, there is no right answer with regards to that trial. It's one of the reasons I like that as one of the better designed quests in the game. But Formason over there brings up something that I actually wanted to talk about myself. What about Revan? Was Revan a Justice Lord? Or was Revan a Cisco? The irony is, to my knowledge, we don't know. We never know how Revan felt while he was doing his horrible, deplorable things. All we know is from his perspectives before and after, and from other people's ideals. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, what about Revan the book? No. Well, what about Revan in the Tor? No, again. So again, in both of those cases, we have a completely segregated issue. And they're just being flung out the window because of questionable canonicity. So, like I said, whether or not Revan was actually... whether he regretted things, whether he felt it was a necessary sacrifice, or whether he was willing to do, whatever, because this is the right choice, we never actually know. All we can do is assume. I personally like it better that way, though, because he's a player character. And one of the things that a player character is supposed to be is someone who you decide who and what he is, how their personalities are, how their perspectives are, that kind of a thing. So I turn this question right around to you. Did Revan regret the horrible things he had to do? Because he did horrible things even before he started calling himself Darth. You must gather your party before venturing forth. Look, Jolee, I know you're very sad about the fact that your friend was just killed, but come on, dude. McGrantz, the problem is Tor actively contradicts KoTOR and KoTOR 2. I've been pointing out several instances of it throughout the course of the game. And, so that's why I generally consider Tor to be not really something that can be considered when it comes to lore, because, again, it contradicts lore several times. But whatever. Where is this jackass? I did not like the Revan book, no. But really? Where the hell is this guy? Johnny. Jolee, let's go. I would take it in the logical direction, Wolfdog. I would go after the ancient Sith and make them just as horrible as they sounded in KoTOR 2. We're looking for Slimebag, is actually who we're looking for. Why are we keeping the Gizka? This is also the wrong guy. Goodbye, Gizka. I am killing them with kindness, I think. We don't kill them, right? I mean, we're just giving them away and... Fine, we'll keep the Gizka. God, jeez. Y'all are weird. I love you, though. No, I don't, Summerhaze. In all honesty, I think that's incredibly unlikely at this point in time. I tend to agree, Mraid. If anybody has seen Passing Through Gethsemane, which is a Babylon 5 episode, I would love a situation like that with Revan. I'm not going to say anything else about it for fear of spoilers, because I know a lot of my viewers haven't watched Babylon 5 yet. And that is a pretty spoilery episode. Alright, time to do the main quest, I guess. For anybody who's curious, I personally think Revan did regret what he did terribly. I think he was haunted by nightmares. I think he could barely function. I would not actually be surprised, if I could be blunt, that he actually probably intended to kill himself when the Mandalorian War was over. And the only reason he didn't is because it broke him so hard that he realized with regret and with weariness that his task wasn't done, because he found out about the Sith who pushed the Mandalorians into the war. And so he finally goes through this horrible, nightmarish, terrible, incredibly just vicious war, and then finds and does all these terrible things to end it, and finally it's over. And then he finds out it's not over. And that in my opinion is what really led Revan to feed the Despair Wolf, if you understand me. Not the dark side, not the Sith Emperor, but that breaking of his spirit. To learn that all those sacrifices were practically for nothing. True Town, I do not agree with that. I could be wrong. I could have to look up to a few things, but I was pretty sure that it went Mandalorian War, Malachor 5, going after the Sith, coming back, getting the Starforge, and then coming back and conquering the galaxy. So a bit of a pause there between the two. But I could be wrong. It would not be the first time. Glad you like him, Reach. Okay, What am I doing here? I don't even remember what I'm doing here. You mean about the exile? Yeah, I think the exile definitely had remorse and regret about the things, but I also think the council, ironically, had no regret at all. That they had the Justice Lord mentality. That they were just, nope, we did the right thing. It was correct to do what we did. And the funny thing is, they keep having that mentality, because they do that to Revan later, and then they do it to the exile. Twice. Really? And at no point do they seem even remotely regretful about it. But anyways.
Allow me to thank you for helping put that killer Sunry
Hello,
in
Cam.
prison.
Cleric.
Alassa was a friend of mine, and the thought of her murderer going free enraged me. But thanks to you, justice was served. So, what can I do for you?
Yes, I'm looking for your brother.
If you have a pass, why are you bothering me with it? Just go in.
In my opinion, yes, Summer Haze. Oh, I see what you're talking about, True
You
Town.
there. I don't recognize you. How did you get in here? You. I don't recognize you. Commander Gran.
Do I have to kill all of you? I can do it, it's fine.
You authorized this person to enter. I don't know them. And their identification doesn't match up. They're spies.
What? Sound the...
I will be your doom!
Yes, Sean, that's exactly what I was thinking. Right, I haven't answered True Town yet. My perspective is that the Mandalorian Wars were definitely a war of recruitment, but I don't think the Sith Emperor or the Sith or whatever were involved at all at that point in time. It is my perspective that Revan, by that point in time, had become so broken by everything that had happened that he realized the galaxy needed to be revitalized, because the Republic had become a cancerous, bloated mess, and so he was going to burn the wheat, if you know what I mean, in order to get rid of the chaff. So, yeah, hang on, let me grab this file really quick here. See you around, Fearsome. That's just my perspective on it, of course. But, yeah. But yeah, as ever, Revan, I don't care what that damn book says. We decide what our Revan is. So... No, I say burn the wheat, specifically Shadow, because there was a lot of wheat that got burned. A lot of wheat. Well, that does sound appropriate, Pandemonium. It's funny because Kreia and I, on the surface, agree on several things, but I just can't tell if I agree with several of the things that Kreia wanted as far as goals. You know what I mean?
Never too old for this.
Yeah, True Town. I've always had that mentality. The idea of chaff here, Shadow, you are correct, but the idea of chaff here is dead, broken, unusable wheat, basically. So in other words, we're burning the wheat in order to make sure that the chaff is gone. Not just the chaff, we're burning everything. If any of the wheat survives, well, sure. Welcome back, Lava. I can't seem to hit this thing.
Take that!
No, I don't, Mandark.
That is what a Jedi can do.
Oh, that would be awesome, Braga.
That is what a Jedi can do. That is what a Jedi can do.
Yeah, I realized that reach. That's why I went ahead and stud them. I already got the module from the droid. But I thought there's one other thing we wanted from here. Seriously, I thought there was one other thing we wanted, and that was about the kids. God, I'm tired. The Selkath children who are here.
Never too old for this. I still got it.
I'm not sure, Pencil. No, if you stun them, their defense goes to 0, basically. Huh. Yeah, Sean has an excellent point that isn't often mentioned. Revan learned a lot of things during the Mandalorian War. Now, let's say you're like, well, he did the wrong thing by taking things into his own hand, and that is entirely debatable. However, what were his alternatives? He could go back to the Republic and say, and the Republic would say, well done for all you've done for us. Here's a medal and a pat on the back, an attaboy. And they would have done nothing because politics and bureaucracy. Okay, I remember this space now. So let's say he goes back to the Jedi. Well, if I have to explain to you why the Jedi wouldn't have done anything, you have not been paying attention for this entire lore run. So that leaves the third option of trying to find a neutral power which is strong enough to influence things on a galactic scale, of which there are not many. The Exchange, the Hutts. That's kind of it, actually. Yeah. I think you see the problem here. Yeah, the irony, Chemic. I gotta admit, one thing I don't like about the light side ending in this game is the actual ending itself. My friend Pax likes to say that BioWare just does not know how to do good endings, and the only exception to that, like ever, is Dragon Age Origins. Yes, I've got it, guys. We'll go to the Hutts, and we'll teach them this idea about like a dark saber, which can destroy planets, and it'll be great. Yeah, anyways. In most things of lore, a thermal detonator is really damn strong. The kind of thing that should actually do, like, basically take out a nice sphere of whatever's near it. Yeah, exactly. The dark side ending is actually better in this game. But the finale leading to that ending is horrible. And you also have to do something so sickeningly evil that I've never been able to bring myself to do it again. Yes, again, I did it the first time, and that was sufficient for me, thank you. So, yeah, we're not going to be seeing the dark side ending, guys. Spoiler alert! Before XR Kun, Summer Haze. I would argue against that, Shiryu, but I will admit that they do not have bad endings. They just don't have good endings. That's just my opinion, of course. Wait, who did I kill? Oh, mission. Right, okay. Go! Go. Okay, we're through. Okay. Oh, I don't have... I'm out of spikes. Oh my god, I haven't had that problem in forever. Hang on, I gotta figure out the... I gotta figure out the code for spikes. Lol. There, okay. No, say John. God, no. I mean, it would take a huge donation to do this. Seriously, though, I gave my word. I'm not even going to show it off. I said I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to do it. I do not technically around my word. That's not how that works. I think they would have either disbelieved him, debated about it, pandemonium, or reached the conclusion that their best possible option is to sit and wait and kind of build up our defenses and see what happens when the Sith come after us. In other words, next to useless. So I'm trying to remember where I'm actually looking for here. Aha! Here we are. Training room. That's exactly what I want. Which is right there. Excellent. But I have to show the light ending so you guys can understand how terrible it is. Seriously, it's bad. Oh yeah, that's the other one. Remember how they're all like, Malak would never dare attack us at Dantooine. That one sentence by itself speaks to how ridiculously stupid the Order is. And yes, PD, that is actually a fairly accurate statement. I tend to like a fairly large amount of Jedi characters, but the Jedi Order as an organization is dumb. Forgive me for quoting Men in Black here. A person can be smart. A Jedi could be smart. But the Jedi Order is dumb. Wait. What? But... I don't want to go through the stupid water room. Fine. I don't even remember this puzzle. I mean, I remember the basics of it. Okay. I just think the lightsaber ending is... I mean, I like a good ending, like as in a happy ending, but the lightsaber ending is just, you know. Hey, Raspint.
Warning, activating.
Where's the...
Warning.
Okay, I just gotta show something out really quick. This is funny.
Warning.
If this is what I remember it is. Aw. It doesn't let me. Yeah, the light side ending feels like... Okay, have any of you guys ever had a corporate job? Or a fast food job? Both of these are like basically the same. Because the way this works out is... Imagine your boss just comes up to you, and you've just done something amazing and incredible, and it saved the company. He comes up to you and says... And he pats you on the back. Good job! Here's a little piece of paper I printed out to say how awesome you are. That's what the light side ending feels like to me. I personally think he was always working against the Sith, Wolfdog. I like how you repeated your question twice there, but I always think he was working against the Sith, personally. Yeah, here's a coupon for $5 off at Subway. Freaking stupid. By the way, that's speaking from personal experience, by the way. I once did something pretty awesome at Montgomery Watson. I've finished Rogue Galaxy Jaywalk. I didn't like the last boss in that game either. Anyways, I was working at Montgomery Watson, and I threw together at the last minute. We had a bid for a huge engineering project. I don't even remember what it is, but it was a huge public works engineering project, multi-million-dollar thing. Getting it was a huge boon. Lots of people got raises and bonuses, and they pulled me into a meeting, and they're like, hey, you know, Magus, or Mr. Strick, because that's what they call me. Like, hey, you've done an amazing job here. Hey, let's go ahead and give you a pat on the back. Everyone, let's have a round of applause for Arsh. Yay. Alright, moving on to the meeting. And I got a little piece of paper, which I don't have anymore. And given how sentimental I am about holding on to things, that should probably tell you how much I didn't give a damn about that. I use Livestreamer when I watch stuff. Yes, Lurker. Yeah, what am I doing wrong here? And I want to stress it was a last-minute thing that I had to throw together out of absolutely nowhere to get that bid. And we got the bid. It's just... yeah, good job. Yay. Just wanted to frickin' slug him. I really did. I don't remember how to get through this stupid puzzle.
Warning. Action. Warning.
See you around, Chemic. Hope to see you tomorrow. I really don't remember how to do this stupid puzzle. Alright, fine. Start off by entering the stairs on the left. Click on the flow panels on the wall. Food.
Warning. Aborting. Warning.
Okay, if I'd realized I could have done that, I would have figured that out a lot quicker. So yeah, we're done. I didn't even realize you could do that. That's why I always screw up on that stupid thing, too. It's the same problem mistake I always make. You can shunt the water sideways in addition to adjacent. As soon as you understand that, it actually makes perfect sense. Star Trek Beyond? Really? Hewlett and Packard is a long story, but basically it's a electronic parts manufacturer. I'm just bloodthirsty now. What can I say? These people. Hate them all. You know, I just realized we have an all-Jedi party again. And we're not going to loot them. By the way, I've only actually worked at 3 corporations in my life, not counting, you know, little stuff. Enough said. I just realized I need some aspirin. I'm developing a headache. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Sorry about the delay there. Okay, let's finish this up, shall we? We're committing to finishing the Leviathan tonight. That's our goal, guys. So let's do it. So yeah, you remember how I mentioned that the Sith were doing this whole thing here? Well, you know how the Sith have a very easy time in convincing former light Jedi to join the dark side because they've been so restrained and they've been so internecine the whole time. How easy do you think it would be to convince the people who have a policy of neutrality that they disagree with to decide to go ahead and abandon that policy and embrace the Sith way? I only mention it because I imagine that a large amount of Selkath would be easy pickings for for Sithhood, basically. Now I gotta look something up really quick, guys. I'm sorry. What? Oh, whatever, I don't care. Also, Bregwin, wow, that's insane. That's insane and stupid. Yeah, arrogance, foo. But no, in all honesty, I'm not trying to generalize too much. Really? Really? Hang on. The Jedi are lying. Yes, we've already talked about this. I am amazed Bastila has not given into the dark side before now. But then again, I have a theory about that. I've always felt that the only reason she didn't is because she never really had a chance to. They never really got a hold of her until, you know, the events of the game. And in the interim time, she had us. One way or the other. So, you know. That's relevant as well. You guys are universal healthcare, I swear. Excellent. So I'm hungry, guys, so I'm doing something here. Really, really insane. Can anyone guess what I'm doing? Give you a hint. It involves pizza. Because it's earlier than I thought it was. It's really dark out, so I'm like, oh god, it's too late to do this, but no, we're fine. Yes, I'm going to eat food. I'm just getting this ordered now, so it'll show up while I'm still going through Manaan. I'm just looking for a deal that isn't garbage. Sure, we'll do this one. Yes, yes, all this is irrelevant. Yes, original, thank you. It doesn't taste for it, guys. I don't taste good. You can ask all of my various ex-girlfriends. Wow, foo. I just realized I should stop the recording.